333 103. This is Cork Today on C103.
And Anneliese Dressel, our nutritional therapist, joining us on the programme. Good morning to Anneliese.
Good morning, Patricia.
You're welcome to the programme, and we're going to look at sleep apnea. But first, just a text in from a listener saying, could you please ask Anneliese about starflower oil, and is it good for pains in my knees, general joint pains? Starflower oil?
It can be. Starflower oil is very high in the omega-6 fatty acids, so it is good for anything that is to do with inflammation, such as arthritis. It's great actually for PMT as well. But I think in terms of somebody who's suffering from arthritis, it's probably best to take an omega-3 as a supplement rather than the omega-6s. The reason being is we tend to get a lot of omega-6 in our diet because we eat a lot of seed oils. So we generally get enough of that, but it's the omega-3s that we're deficient in because they only come from the oily fish, or they come from linseeds or possibly pumpkin seeds. So that mightn't be a common part of people's diet. So for that listener, I would recommend probably supplementing with the omega-3 fatty acids if it's a type of arthritic pain in the knees. But starflower oil is fantastic for PMT.
Okay. Now, sleep apnea, this came up last week on the programme. Now, I don't know how much from a nutritional point of view you can help with sleep apnea, but just firstly, it's snoring, isn't it? I mean, isn't that basically what it is?
It's actually what happens is it can be an interruption in the respiratory rhythm in breathing. So there's two different kinds. One of them is actually a central nervous system disorder, and that's less common. The second one is more to do with where there isn't an actual interruption in the nervous function, but there's an obstruction, and that's nearly always comes along with the snoring as well. So a lot of people would have that, who have sleep apnea with that second type, the obstructive one, mostly would have a little bit of extra weight. So that, of course, would increase the likelihood of snoring as well.
So obviously, if you get a handle on your weight, you should snore less.
This is one of the most important things you can do for snoring or for sleep apnea, is to try and get yourself down to a healthy weight. Now, I mean, there are people, and there's even children, that suffer from this snoring, and they don't have any issue with weight as well. So in that case, your doctor always is the best person to go to, because there might be polyps in the nose causing an obstruction, or it might be the mucus is building up in the back of the throat at night time. There's a couple of practical things you do when you've got sleep apnea. One of them is to actually sleep on your side, not on your back, and that goes for snorers as well. Not to have alcohol or to smoke, because obviously alcohol will cause you to sleep heavier, and the smoking, of course, will cause obstruction in your lungs. So there are sort of practical tips to take into account. But there is some evidence to show that a Mediterranean diet can help people who suffer from sleep apnea. Now, it sounds like the person who sleeps with a sleep apnea person suffers more because it's the snoring thing. So the person who's asleep seems to sleep fine, but it's the other person having to be awake and listening. But actually, a lot of people who have sleep apnea, they're not even aware of it, but they just feel fatigued all the time and tired. And in the winter time, they can be more prone to getting depression. It also increases their risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease. It actually also increases their chances of putting on weight as well, and metabolic syndrome, because our sleep cycle is so important. And lots of evidence coming out now to show disruption between sleep rhythms and type 2 diabetes.
Yeah,
and
so while the person who has the sleep apnea and the person who's snoring, they don't realise they're snoring, so they don't realise that their sleep is actually being interrupted. They're not getting a good night's sleep.
Often they're not, because I suppose when the body is struggling to breathe, it is a sort of there is a reaction that takes place in the body. So if that's happening throughout the night, it's almost like the body is, maybe the person isn't waking up, but the body will have to wake up very quickly to deal with the lack of oxygen and to kickstart the breathing again. So people do have a very interrupted sleep, and they can feel very tired. Now, some people won't be affected at all and they'll feel grand, but they will never know that they have sleep apnea because they'll never go to the doctor saying, I have a problem. So, for all of those other reasons, it's very important that you lose the weight. And the Mediterranean diet is one that's very high in vegetables, whole grains and oily fish, low in meat. So red meat, much less than 3 times the week maximum, have white fish and oily fish the other days, and then for lunch, have whole grains, so your brown breads, and have soups that are chock-a-block full of vegetables, and put in all of these legumes like lentils and chickpeas, butter beans. There's a whole range of beans you can buy now in the supermarkets in tins, and they're great to chuck into a bowl of soup, and you don't even need really to have, a lot of bread with that then either. So it's about following that diet. And that's the main thing in terms of dietary advice. There really aren't any foods that will help with sleep apnea, with snoring. It's all about losing the weight.
Okay, and for generally speaking then, for Anneliese, for people who have difficulty sleeping, are there foods that can help?
There's definitely a number of different foods that can help. Now, in terms, and I would actually have a lot of people asking me about, finding that they have difficulty sleeping. And I think there's a whole process that you can go through yourself without having to take sleeping tablets that will improve your sleep. The first thing is what not to do, and that is don't eat heavy meals too late at night. The second thing is don't drink caffeine after 6 o'clock at night. And the third thing is don't drink a lot of alcohol after 6 o'clock at night, because all of those three things will interrupt your sleep cycle. So they're the don't do's. And then the other things to do would be to have a small snack before you go to bed, about an hour before you go to bed, because if you're not sleeping well, it might be that your blood sugar is dropping throughout the night. So a small snack could take the place of something like possibly a yogurt, which is very high in calcium, and calcium has been shown to help you sleep. A turkey sandwich is a great, or turkey on oatcakes or something is a great snack as well, because turkey is very high in tryptophan, which is converted to melatonin, the sleep hormone. A handful of almonds, also very high in tryptophan and melatonin, so will help you sleep. Or just a natural yogurt with some fruit in there. A glass of milk sometimes can help, and if you want, you can put in a spoon of the turmeric as well, which is an anti-inflammatory and can help sleep. So those type of snacks are good to have about an hour before you go to bed. And then the next thing to do is possibly get into the bath or do something relaxing. Don't watch kind of television right up to the moment that you go to sleep, because a lot of the time it can get you hyperactive. So maybe take some time, go upstairs, have a bath and read a little bit of a book, and then hopefully that would improve your sleep patterns. Okay,
Paula, who said never had a problem sleeping at night, but as I'm getting older, over 50, start to notice that I've got to get up to go to the loo in the middle of the night. This never happened before. Is it just an age thing?
Yes, I definitely think that's an age thing, and there's not much you can do about it except don't drink much liquids after 6 o'clock at night. But that would be quite common. And actually, it's not a problem if you do need to get up and go to the loo, so long as you can fall back to sleep easily afterwards. The problem arises when people get back into bed and they find it hard to go to sleep, and then they're tossing and turning because they're worried that they're not able to go back to sleep. And in those cases, you might actually be better off getting up for half an hour, having a glass of warm milk, or a herbal tea like valerian tea is great for sleeping. Chamomile tea is very good for calming as well. And then get up for about half hour and go back to bed then, and you should sleep better after that.
Okay. Are any supplements that you suggest people could take for a good night's sleep?
Yeah, there's a couple now. Really, they're varying efficacy. Some people will get a good benefit from these and some people won't. Valerian is one of the older herbs that's been used to help people sleep, and you can buy that in a tea. And that's the best way to take it, unless you consult with your doctor first, because valerian is quite a strong herb. So if you're on any other medications and you take it, it might interfere with other medications that you're on. So the tea should be fine for everybody. Chamomile tea is another supplement as well. Hops that they use in brewing beer actually also is very good to make you drowsy. Now you can buy a pillow stuffed with hops, and that can help you sleep. The fumes from the hops in the pillow will help you drift off. Or you might be able to buy a hops tincture that you can put into some water. There's an amino acid called GABA, GABA. It's a neurotransmitter, and it's also a very calming one. And some people find that useful as well. You'll buy that in the health shop. But again, if you're on any medication, and especially if you're on any type of antidepressants, don't take that particular supplement. But it does work for some people.
Okay, and just finally back to the sleep apnea for a moment. Would you suggest, if somebody's sleep apnea is very bad, would you suggest a trip to the doctor? Because I know it came up a few weeks ago in the programme, we're going to one of these sleep clinics, and some people had great success by going to these sleep clinics.
Yeah, definitely. There are a number of sleep clinics. There's one in Cork, as well. So go to your doctor, and if the sleep apnea is very bad and is really disturbing your sleep or your partner's, there's a number of other things that you can do as well, and that the doctor will help you and get you training and doing. One of them is using continuous positive airway pressure. Now what this is it's basically an air mask, and it just keeps your upper airway open so that if it doesn't close, you're not sort of snorting and snorking and struggling for breath. But the only thing is that it's quite uncomfortable because obviously it's on your face. So that can be a difficulty. The other thing as well is that some people find that a dental appliance that kind of pushes their jaw forward, and again, that's keeping the upper airway open, that can be very helpful as well. And that's more comfortable because it's in your mouth as opposed to around your head, so it might be better for sleeping. Some people swear by putting a tennis ball on their back so they don't roll over onto their back and ensure they sleep on their side. So a doctor would be able to certainly help you with the continuous positive airway pressure mask or a dental appliance.
Yeah.
And the sleep clinics are also a great help as well for that.
Okay, that's for people that are very, very bad with it. Okay, listen, Anneliese, thank you for that. Have a lovely week.
Thanks,
and we'll chat you again next Monday. That's Anneliese Dressel, our nutritional therapist. She runs clinics in the city, and if you need to contact her, you can give John Paul a buzz, and John Paul will pass on her number 1850 333 103. We need to take a break. And we have news on the way at 12 midday. Keep your sporting comments coming in, please. 1850 333 103. Something happened in sports over the weekend. Do you want to comment on it? Do you want to comment on that rugby match yesterday? Where did it all go wrong for Ireland? We welcome your thoughts and comments. Or if you want to text in a comment, you can to 53103 for 20 cent. And of course, we're also encouraging you by text to text the word bingo. John Paul tells me, because I saw one come in block capitals and I thought it was wrong. You are allowed to send it in block capitals. It seems somebody sent it in by block capitals, and when they were writing bingo, instead of the O on bingo, they used the 0, so that then made it null and void. So you just text in the word bingo, but make sure you're spelling bingo correctly, B-I-N-G-O, use an O instead of the 0, and you text it in along with your name, your full name and address, please, but you need to put in the word bingo at the start of the text message, and the first 1,000 texters will be receiving a free Rehab Radio bingo book. To pay bingo for free on week 3. We've started on week 1 today, so it'll be 2 weeks today that you'll be playing on your free bingo books, and we'll be getting them out to you in plenty of time. And you can also pass it on to a loved one, because it'll be coming up very close to Mother's Day as well. But get texting on that, because we're fast approaching our 1,000 texters who will be getting those free bingo books in the post. The word bingo along with your full name and address, please, for 20 cents to 53103. And our email address, if you want to make contact with us, is patricia@c103.ie. We'll go to the newsroom with Sarah after these.